I said, it was a different world, and we didn't even have hardly any telephones in the barracks, if you remember. And I remember a little bit of, most of it was with the president that day. You know,
Well, that's what the big story was.
We were overwhelmed with that. And I remember Captain Hyde coming into the in our office. I think it was just when I came in, and he says I just heard the head man just got shot. I thought he meant the colonel. That's all he said was that the head man. Oh, the colonel got shot. And then we started, you know, watching on TV there. The TV was down the end of the room there, down the end of the hall, and found out it was the president. You know.
What time was that about?
It was late in the afternoon because it took time then. It's not like now.
Yeah.
You know? And we're getting bits and pieces of it.
Were you working an evening shift?
Yeah,
Bob?
3 to 11 shift.
3 to 11 shift.
Yeah, I came in at 3 that day.
Okay, and you had just started with the state police in, what did you say, March?
I started in March 18th,
Jeez.
63.
Okay.
That was
Just a little bit after 4 o'clock. Okay. And it was Representative Harrington. And he was out in his yard, and he said, this car came down, and just as the WTAG news come on about the president, you know, assassinated, and he said he saw the car moving, going from side to side, and then it went down the hill, hit the guardrail, spun across, tipped over, went down in the water. So we called the cruiser that was out on patrol at that time, and he was covered in an accident someplace else.
Okay.
So that's the reason why 2 lieutenants went out. Mm-hmm. Lieutenant Tonelli was a supervisor on that shift, and I was on the desk. We took the resuscitator, and we got in the cruiser, and we went to the scene.
Okay. You were a lieutenant at that time?
I was. That's why
okay.
People wondered why there was 2 lieutenants.
I know it.
At it. You know.
You don't get that nowadays. 2
well,
lieutenants covered an accident.
No, and it was good because we had long pants.
Yep.
And not breeches and the boots on and everything to win the water.
Okay.
And the car was in about, I'd say, 10 to 12 feet of water. There was water over the top. And there was a man there, his name was Sullivan, I think.
Yeah, we didn't get his name because we were...
No, but I got talking with him the next morning.
Yeah.
And he got the driver out.
Okay.
And it turned out the driver had a previous history of a stroke. And they figured out that when he heard the news on the radio for the first time, because they were at the Nuns' mother's 88th birthday party in Fitchburg, then they figured he took another stroke because he didn't have water in his lungs, and the 3 nuns did at the autopsy. And we went in, and in those days the nuns had robes, those heavy woolen robes, and they were heavy. And it was shaky because that's kind of on an incline.
Sure.
And there was a brick on it, a stone or something.
Boulders,
And it was shaky
yeah.
because you were holding it. And when I come out, it took 2 or 3 dives to get the second and third one. The 3 of them were in the back seat. And they had been in there by the time we got there 15, 20 minutes at least.
You both responded in the same
We
car?
both in the
Yeah.
same car.
Cruiser? Okay.
And then there were a lot of people that stopped along the way.
Okay.
And Ed had to make a skirmish line there, and as we brought them out, he passed them to one of them, and they passed them up the shore on the road.
Yeah.
And the third one was hard because she was down over and really soaked, and it was shaking ever to get her out. And then we went up and worked on them, hooked them up to the resuscitator. We ordered a big tank of air because we just had the small one that comes with the resuscitator. We hooked that up, and a couple of, I don't know who they were, volunteer people, whether they were firemen or what, I didn't know. We had no time to get anybody's name. And we worked on them, and my opinion is a doctor showed up, or somebody from the Holden Hospital, and he pronounced them dead. He said they were dead. And he said, you better get Lieutenant Tonelli and yourself up to the Holden Hospital, or you'll be having pneumonia.
Without doing accident reconstruction and the catapult off, I mean, would you think 60 miles an hour would be reasonable, or
I don't even
60,
think.
65, or...
Oh, I don't think
I don't think he
that
was going that fast.
I
Because it
bet
just rolled over.
Yeah.
I don't think
gently.
he probably wasn't doing more than 40,
Really?
or even that.
Okay.
About 40.
Now, you had, I've heard stories, did you get some eye damage because
Well,
of
there was
gasoline?
the gas in there, and it burnt my eyes, and for, quite a while after they treated my eyes, and they still get, with the wind or anything, they get affected by it.
The gas from the car?
Yeah.
It was leaking out?
See, gas will come right to the top.
Yeah.
So every time you come up,
Uh,
you get it, your price can go down again. But do you know where the car went? I never.
yeah, that's
Never
interesting.
saw anything happen because we left the scene and
Yeah. I
And so you have limited documentation here for
We
the
have-
Holden Police Department?
We have nothing.
you want to know something?
We have nothing.
That is amazing.
I know.
Well,
That's
And the
amazing.
barracks has nothing. A major accident
I
like
never
that, 4
saw.
people get killed.
We never saw McGinnis. We both knew McGinnis.
yeah.
Yeah, I
No,
mean,
there was-
nowadays, I mean, a chief will come out if somebody gets
Yeah.
killed. The chief comes out immediately. Do you remember how the bodies were transported to the hospital?
I
You know something? I don't know.
I don't know
There was
who
such incredible
the
confusion.
bodies.
Yeah.
We just passed them
After
off.
when we worked on them, and we couldn't do anything with them, they took us away, and
Yep.
the bodies were still there.
Yeah, because this was before the day of ambulances.
Well, they didn't have ambulances or
Right.
anything like that to
Right.
call.
Oh,
So,
really?
Yeah,
to tell you the truth, I don't know how they
Yeah,
did take
I
them.
don't recall either.
yeah.
I
The police
know.
cars back then were mostly stationary.
We didn't
Oh,
see
right.
They would
And
throw
they
the
could have been
people.
right.
We didn't even see if they brought him into the hospital, which they must have.
Yeah, into the morgue.
Do you know that? Did you check that?
That's what I was
Well, there's no
looking
records
into.
left up there.
Oh,
In
yeah.
the local funeral home, Miles Funeral Home, I'm having them check their records to see, who took possession of the bodies, and they're buried in the Hartford area.
A curious thing happened the next morning. The man on the desk, I think it was Marty Armitage, I'm not sure which, he come up and he says, I got a very distraught man down at the desk, and his son. And he said, he wants to talk to you. And it was Mr. Sullivan and his son. He was a very religious man. And he didn't sleep a wink all night, the son said, because he thought that maybe he could have saved them. He got the man, and he was right there at the scene, and took time. And I told him, I said, did you see the effort, the trouble that Lieutenant Tonelli and I had to get them up and out? And you thought you could do it alone? And he said, well, that's the way you did. And he said, no, you couldn't. Are you a good swimmer? He said, no, pretty good, but it made him feel better. We had him, give him some coffee, and they thanked us for the trouble, and he went back. It was a part of the story, that I could see.
Now, did he witness the car crashing, or was he just the first one there?
Well, he was
One of the
evidently,
first ones there.
he was there, one of the first there.
Okay.
We both got cards
Yeah,
thanking us for our effort from Anna Maria.
there was a fourth daughter,
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
and she had the flu.
Yep.
So she didn't go to the party.
Yeah.
The other two, because they're all sisters, four
Right.
of them. And she sent both of us a card. And
Kind of.
I don't know if this is true or not, but I know a fellow that knew the family, and he said that the mother never went out of the house after that.
Yeah.
Because, because they're there, and she died about 5 or 6 months later.
Yeah.